Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Wine Coven! We have an upcoming live show in New York City!
Ever heard of
it? New York City. So join us on Saturday, July 8th at the Gramercy Theater in New York, New York. The show starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So get your tickets now at wineandcrimepodcast.com. And just so you know, tickets are going real quick. So get yours now. Do not hesitate. As we record this promo, we are very, very close to sold out already. So run, don't walk.
We're a hot commodity, people.
We're so excited. We will see you in the Big Apple on July 8th.
Woohoo! You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
It's early, you guys.
I'm Kenyon and my coffee is cold.
I'm Lucy. I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda. I don't have a bra on. I didn't brush my hair. And my coffee is also cold. And we're thriving and everything's fine.
My
I have
bad
not
tie
brushed
is
my
cold.
hair. Oh, no.
Oh,
At least it's not your soup.
Oh,
I should
God.
have just heated up some soup.
I
Absolutely
didn't brush my
fucking
hair,
not.
But I did brush my teeth.
I brushed my
So-
teeth too. Calling it
did
a
both.
win.
I
Big
took
flex.
a whole ass shower today.
Wow.
And I'm on week 4 of my night retainers, and my snag
Yeah.
is definitely receding.
You
Yeah.
have less of a lisp.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's noticeable.
It's noticeable.
I kind
Thank
of miss
you.
it, though.
I miss it too.
I
But
know.
it was getting more and more prominent
It
in
was
recent
trying
years.
to escape my head.
It was trying to run
It was
away.
becoming a situation, guys.
A situation.
So, a situation. She needs to be shaved. So we had to act.
This is
we
our
have to act.
second to last recording before Vegas.
Oh
For my
God.
bachelorette party.
I'm so
and
excited.
We
spent
may or may not.
44 minutes talking about the sarongs and visors that we
Yeah,
ordered.
we're starting late because
We're 45 minutes behind schedule because we're just running down our packing list.
Okay, should I get my spray tan now and then shave my... No, I should exfoliate,
the way
spray
Kenyon
tan, shave.
the way Kenyon texted our chat to say she got 4 visors, and I asked if I could use one, and she goes, "Actually, I am planning to use them all." And I was
I'm
like,
gonna
honestly,
use all 4 of these
honestly,
identical
no.
I get
visors.
it. Respect. Like, I will get my own visor.
You
I
can
get
have
it.
a visor.
Yes. I'm so
Okay.
excited.
She needs
Anyway.
3, though.
I get
I
it.
need 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For all 3 of her personalities.
They will be coming
3
out.
identical
We need-
visors.
We need to label each visor, and then you'll
Young
change
Goldie Hawn,
visors.
Steve Martin era Goldie Hawn,
Yes.
and today
Yes.
Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
whichever one you're wearing, we will just have to be mindful of which personality that is.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like this as an early warning system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're doing the thing. I already did the tagline. Okay.
Yep.
We have a very special fan pick this week brought to you by Anonymous. But
Mhm.
Anonymous is a real person.
QAnon.
Yeah, Q. And Anonymous wants to shout out Abolition Now OC.
Hell
Okay,
yeah.
and we're going to get to that in a second because they have selected the topic of OC crimes.
Like Orange County.
Orange County.
Orange.
Orange.
Like the incredible teen drama.
Oh.
I really tried to find a case related to the show.
Mhm.
Honestly, I almost just did a 45-minute synopsis a la my
Misha Barton.
Scandival presentation about the show,
Mhm.
and then went in a much darker direction.
Yeah, I
There's
ended
not
up doing a real
lot.
case.
There's not a whole lot to say about the show without a flowchart.
Yeah.
Right.
I would
It's
have
more visual. If we
It
did a
re- yeah.
live show in the OC,
Oh,
we could do
I did
that.
make a flowchart in. Okay, so as you both recall,
your
I
OC parties.
I had OC parties every week. It was Wednesday night, and then I think it moved to Thursday night. Whatever.
Yeah, because it was super popular, so they moved it to primetime, baby.
So it's just say started on Wednesday night. It was every Wednesday at 7:00. All my friends came over. Both of my friends came over.
No, you had like
Both
10
of your
people
friends.
every time.
That
And
was
your
actually-
friends' boyfriends.
That was actually like the peak of my personal popularity. I think
Yes.
the most people we had over was like 12 or 15 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to scream for everyone to shut the fuck up when the commercial breaks were over because I was
Yup.
deeply invested. And I would say
Yes.
about 60% of the people
What
there
you
were.
say?
A lot of boys
Ooh,
started
that
to
you
show up
minute,
because
That's where all the hot girls were.
right.
What you say?
Yeah, a lot of boys started coming, and I was just like, this isn't about you. This isn't for you.
About Ryan and
Everything
Marissa.
else is for you.
Will they or won't they?
I hate Ryan.
But then also,
ew.
okay, so there was some day when we had like newcomers, and I was asked to make like a float.
No, you made the flowchart for me because I came back from France.
To catch her up.
Yeah.
I
made
was
it-
a foreign exchange student, and I
Yes.
had never even heard, there was this like basically pre-internet, like not
She didn't have a
literally, but
VPN then to watch it in France.
I had never even heard of the show.
Yeah.
And I came back, and Lucy made me this beautiful, detailed flowchart explaining all the
remember it.
relationships.
I
You
did
kept
it
it for a really long
Oh,
time.
I still have it somewhere.
I
I
did
was
it
gonna say,
in my
it's somewhere.
painting class.
You
It was
did.
like
It
on
was-
a good piece of paper with like
really nice card
paints,
stock.
acrylic paints. Then I went to college, and I wanted to keep the OC moving because we started college in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And so I made flyers and put them up around my dorm. And then I like kept my dorm door open.
Did anyone come?
No one came.
No!
Nobody came.
That's so traumatic.
I watched it by myself
Oh my god!
with my door open in case anyone was just late. I'm literally crying. I know, I'm kind of crying too.
That's so sad.
My first semester of college was not great.
Then you found your people, and then you were really happy.
Oh,
you found good
I'm
people.
literally crying.
We're so lonely.
Well, it didn't help that I thought I made a friend. His name was Noah. Turns out he just wanted to like make out. I was like, you're disgusting.
Betrayal.
I invited him to my dorm room. I think he got excited about that, but we ended up watching Kids on VHS, and then
Lucy.
he stopped talking to me.
Lucy. I don't
So,
know
yeah.
why you didn't want to make out to Gummo, but like,
I didn't want to make out with him, so I was both denying him any attention and also forcing
ultimate
him to watch the most
Kids.
depressing film ever made.
I went on a "Is this a date? I'm not sure" with Blandrew Blarbano
Oh,
to
yep.
Hotel Rwanda.
Tells you all you need to know that it was probably
it
not a
was
date.
not. It ended up, I don't know where it started, but it ended up not a date.
oh,
Oh my God.
okay.
Okay, I don't even know what's happening. All right, the OC,
OC Crimes.
We love
And
you.
where
and
my
we love
trauma
those,
started.
those OC parties were so fun, and
They
fuck
were so-
those college kids because
Yeah, they
that was
fucked up.
awesome.
They fucked up. And you always curate really good snacks. They blew it.
You throw
I
great
bought
parties.
snacks.
You do.
On
I know
my
you did.
Freshman year budget.
Yeah. You, yes.
And
Yes.
the ironic thing is I ended up becoming best friends with the three girls right across the hall. Like, you fucking
You bitches.
you bitches. You didn't even come to my OC party. That's
Did you
where
ever confront them about that?
I should. I'm going to text them right now.
Text
Hey.
Bonnie.
Hey!
Okay, anyway. And another thing.
Hey!
15 years ago, you didn't come to my OC. Longer.
Hey!
Oh, God.
17 years ago?
Oh,
yeah.
Stop. We have to move on. Okay. All right. This is a true crime podcast.
I'm not moving on.
I'm never moving.
Orange Crime County crimes.
We got to finish Anonymous's message.
Right. So they are shouting out Abolition Now OC, which is an abolitionist collective providing mutual aid support to people released from OC jails. Hopefully my case person will never get released from OC
Same.
jails, but some are deserving. And this is a very cool organization, so follow them on Insta or Google them or, whatever, find their link tree with all sorts of ways to help out. And so we have a link tree. We will, I don't know, probably provide it in the show notes, ? I don't know how things work.
Love it.
Sure.
Great.
Okay. Amanda, what is our wine crime pairing for the OC trauma crime?
Well, even though it
So
is now
hot.
approaching noon, we were going to start recording this at 10. So I'm not drinking today because I have been, I'm not drinking right now because I've been up, like, finishing my notes, doing my thing. It wasn't going to happen. It's too early in the day. I have coffee. But I wanted to shout out the Orange Coast Winery because I was just looking up, like, fun and, like, awesome looking wineries in Orange County. And this one looks really fucking cool. They also, to many states in the US, you can order their wine online and they'll ship it to your house. So I just want to read a little bit about Orange Coast Winery. It says, welcome to Orange Coast Winery. We are a local boutique winery in Newport Beach, offering quality wine made with the finest grapes sourced from Temecula Valley, Paso Robles, and Lodi, California. So, like, really beautiful.
I think it's Lodi, but I could be wrong.
Well, either one.
The load.
We look forward to hosting wine tasting events and welcoming guests to our tasting room. You can get your favorite Orange Coast Winery wines using their convenient curbside pickup or shipping. And they also have, like, a wine club. You could become a member of their wine club, and then you get, like, special pricing and, like, tasting invitations. And they have some amazing, amazing wines. And I specifically want to shout out their Endless Wave Red Blend.
Oh.
Which sounds very delicious. The one that they're selling right now is a 2019. It's a blend of Petite Syrah and Tempranillo, which I love that combo. I feel like I don't usually see those two blended together, and it sounds delish. You're going to get flavors of boysenberry, blackcurrant, and, like, from the aging process, a little bit of, like, a cedar balance. So it's smooth, it's jammy, it's rich, it's full-bodied. They say it pairs really well with, like, braised and barbecued meats.
Oh, I'm so
grilled
hungry.
vegetables, garlic, cheeses. Like, it sounds amazing.
All of my favorite things. Okay.
Seriously, this is
I'm
an
so
award.
hungry.
This is an award winner. It's a 64% Petite Syrah, 36% Tempranillo blend with an ABV of 13.3%. So she will get you a little toasty. And I'm just going to add that to cart. So yeah, but I am actually just drinking coffee. But check out orangecoastwinery.com. If you're in the area, go do a tasting because their tastings look amazing and they're like $20. Like, hi, that sounds incredible.
Have you ever been to, like, a wine tasting in, like a Napa area vineyard? I know this isn't Napa, but
I haven't been to a wine
Only in
tasting,
South
like, on a
Africa.
vineyard. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I didn't do that with you guys. Well,
went-
kind of at your wedding venue, but
Yeah.
I went up to Healdsburg with my mom and my sister for my sister's 21st birthday, and we just did wine tastings all day. It's so just
pleasant.
pleasant.
I know.
Fucking pleasant.
It's so fucking
One
pleasant.
of them was
I
a wine
wanna
and
do that so
chocolate.
bad.
One of them was a wine and chocolate pairing.
Don't they have, like, a Napa wine train?
Yeah.
Where you,
Oh, yeah.
like, take a train through and
Because
stop
you
at
don't
all
want to
this-
be driving around.
I want to do that so badly. So badly.
Well,
Anyway.
let's do it. Okay.
Yes, orangecoastwinery.com.
Cheers.
Check them out. And here's my coffee. Cheers.
Cheers! None of us are drinking booze today. It is noon. It's 3 minutes to noon.
I'm going to wait a couple hours before I get going. Okay. Lucy, what's our background and maybe psych for OC crimes?
No psych. I'm gonna say no psych. Oh,
Shake it.
I rearranged my office.
Are you kidding me?
Oh.
Are you kidding me?
Here we go.
Oh, thank God.
The original, the OG.
Oh, the OC.
OCOG. No psych. So just want to start off with a complete side note. While I was Googling, I think I Googled problematic Orange County. And I found a problematic British singer named Rex Orange County.
Ew.
Apparently he's pretty popular. I myself am 35 years old. Never heard of him. But he's done songs with like Tyler the Creator. So he's people would know who he is.
Okay.
Anyway, in October, he was charged with 6 counts of attacking a woman in London, one woman over the course of 2 days. He was like...
Just repeatedly attacking her?
Yep.
Ugh.
Like he kidnapped her, was like holding her against her will, or he just like found her again?
I think he already knew her, and it was like a stalking assault sort of a situation.
Geez. No.
But the charges were dropped in December,
Mm-hmm.
so we might really never get any details about that. But problematic Rex Orange County. And where there's smoke, there's fire. And I don't believe for a second that she intended to drop those charges. Okay, from our pal, Wikipedia. Orange County, often known by its initials OC, is located in the Los Angeles metropolitan area in Southern California. As of the 2020 census, the population was 3,186,989, making it the 3rd most populous county in California, the 6th most populous county in the United States, and more populous than 19 states in the U.S. and Washington, D.C.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So
California has like 38 million people. Is that right? Like as a state or more? I think California has like 38 or 39 million people and
that sounds about
senators.
right. Yeah.
Damn.
So although largely suburban, it is the 2nd most densely populated county in the U.S. behind San Francisco County. Did I just read the opposite? No,
I
that's
have
not
no
right.
idea. Numbers don't stick in here.
Well,
so.
most populous and most densely populated are different things.
2nd most densely populated county in California behind San Francisco County. Okay, that makes sense. The county's 3 most populous cities are Anaheim, Santa Ana, and Irvine, each of which has a population exceeding 300,000. Santa Ana is also the county seat. 6 cities in Orange County are on the Pacific coast, and those are Seal Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, ever heard of it?
Yes.
Dana Point, and San Clemente. Archaeological evidence shows the area to have been inhabited beginning around 10,000 years ago. At the time of European contact, the northern area of what is now Orange County was primarily inhabited by the Tongva, while the southern area of the county was primarily inhabited by the Ashaman. Both groups lived in villages throughout the area. Large villages were sometimes multi-ethnic and multilingual, which I thought was really cool.
Very cool.
Also, ties back to what I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes.
Oh, okay.
Multi-ethnic, multilingual. Everyone got along. It was fine. I don't know that for a fact, but let's assume so.
Mm-hmm.
During the Spanish mission period in the late 1700s, the early European immigrants relied on imports of both Mexican-grown and Spanish-grown wines. So some they were bringing up from Mexico, some they were fully importing from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Spanish expedition leader Junipero Serra repeatedly complained of the process of repeated labored import. He was like, this is bullshit, sick of it. We need to find a different way to get wine.
It would be very hard to like keep a vine happy
production.
Yeah, on a long ship voyage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first grape crop production was produced in 1782 at San Juan Capistrano, with vines potentially brought through supply ships in 1778. So they think they did bring them, I think, from Spain. I don't know why they'd have ships coming up from Mexico, but maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1782 was like the first vineyards in California, which was cool.
Cool.
Very cool.
Viticulture became an increasingly important crop in Los Angeles and Orange counties through the subsequent decades. By the 1850s, the region supported more than 100 vineyards. In 1857, Anaheim was founded by 50 German Americans in search of a suitable grape-growing region. So they purposely came over. They're like, we want to get on this grape train.
Yeah.
This grapey
Am I
train.
dumb for not realizing that people grew grapes in Orange County? I thought that was all north.
No.
No.
There are vineyards throughout all of California.
Okay.
The one Amanda did her wine pairing with is from
I
Orange County.
know, but
And
I
they do
didn't-
source grapes from other surrounding areas. But
Okay.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the well-known grape production
I
part
guess
of the
I just
the
only
state.
think of like the TV show and like
Right.
not agriculture as much.
Mhm.
But orange
that-
is in the name.
And that time we went shopping in Newport Beach, because that was one of the best days of my life.
Such a good day.
This group of 50 German Americans purchased, this makes me so upset, purchased
As
a
she laughs.
1,165 acre parcel for $2 per acre, and later formed the Anaheim Vineyard Company.
Dang.
In 1889, the county seceded from Los Angeles County to the north to become its own county named Orange. The county is said to have been named for the citrus fruit in an attempt to promote immigration by suggesting a semi-tropical paradise, a place where anything can grow.
Like
So-
Greenland.
Like grapes.
So the naming of Orange County was like a PR
Mhm.
stunt.
Stunt. Amazing.
That's really, that tracks.
Yep. By the 1920s, the Valencia orange was their major industrial crop. By the 1950s, the agricultural industry began to decline as different industries popped up, like aerospace and manufacturing. Also, Disneyland opened in 1955.
Oh, that's right.
So Highway 5 was completed in 1954. So, like, bring on the commuters, making Orange County a bedroom community for people working in these industries, and the county became more and more prosperous. This is basically the highway system that made it
Yeah.
the
Accessible
wealthy county that it is today.
Mhm.
Here's a fun fact for you. In 1994, an investment fund meltdown led to the criminal prosecution of Treasurer Robert Citron, is his last name.
What are the chances?
Babby Citron.
I wonder that's why he was elected.
That's hilarious.
Citron or orange?
Citron. The county lost at least $1.5 billion through high-risk investments on bonds. On December 6, 1994, the county of Orange declared Chapter 9 bankruptcy, from which it emerged in June of 1996. So they were
Victorious.
in bankruptcy for a year and a half. Still kind of a long time for a county to be in bankruptcy.
Yeah.
But the OC bankruptcy was at the time the largest municipal bankruptcy in U.S. history. Oops.
Wow. So Citron really fucked shit up.
Fucking
He
Citron.
really fucked shit up, yeah.
Classic
So that's
Citron.
enough about the good stuff about the OC. Let's get to the not so good stuff.
Okay.
School segregation between Mexican and white students in Orange County was widespread in the mid-1940s, with 80% of Mexican students attending 14 segregated schools.
Wow.
This is so fucked up. These schools taught Mexican children manual education, so
Oh
like
my God. Hard labor.
gardening, boot making, blacksmithing, and carpentry for Mexican boys, and sewing and homemaking for the girls, while
It's
white
like, it's great
schools,
to learn trades, but
while white
If you
schools
want
taught
to,
actual
right, yeah.
academic preparation.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the white schools taught normal educating children stuff. Racial segregation in California schools was officially outlawed in 1947 in the landmark Mendez versus Westminster case, but of course, racism remained and remains prevalent. I do have a photo of the sweet little baby girl, she's not really a baby, who was the Mendez side of this case, because her parents tried to enroll her and I think some of her siblings in the same school that some of her cousins went to. because they wanted to be with their cousins. But the cousins they were still Mexican, but they had lighter skin.
Oh, God.
So they were allowed at the white school, and these kids were denied. So that was what that case was about.
Yep.
So this is from The Guardian. Orange County is very conservative and historically has been very white. It helped launch Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan, who called it the place, quote, where all the good Republicans go to die. It's a quote from Reagan. It led the state's crackdown on illegal immigration in the 1990s. A subgroup of neo-Nazi surfers acquired notoriety for putting swastikas on their surfboards.
What a fucking... People are so fucking strange.
Unhinged.
These articles that I've read are, I mean, we'll get to it. It is bonkers. This county is bonkers. The Real Housewives of Orange County, as we're well aware of, has bolstered the impression of a white enclave. Yeah. In fact, over the past 2 decades, the county has become diverse to the point that white people are no longer a majority. So white people make up 44% of the population of the 3 million people who live in Orange County, with Latinos comprising 34% and Asians 18%. And white people are very pissed about this. Most white people live in tracts, large tracts of land that are at least 60%.
Huge tracts of land.
So most white people live in these areas that are at least 60% white. So white people stick with white people. And many of these areas are in the coastal cities like Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, Laguna Beach, and San Clemente, like I mentioned. It's like these areas are very white and they're on the coast, so they can afford to live there. The inland city of Santa Ana, in contrast, once predominantly white, is now 78% Latino. Economics explains much of this. As I mentioned, whites are wealthier and can afford pricey coastal real estate, and most Latinos cannot. But aside from economics, wouldn't you know, it's also fucking racism.
Yeah.
This article talks about a study conducted in 2010 by 2 white researchers. They intentionally chose white researchers to conduct this, who interviewed 40 white Orange County residents to find out their honest opinions about the diversity of their county. And here's a small sample. The respondents, quote, overwhelmingly characterized Latinos and African Americans as culturally deficient, problematic, and inferior. They used words like trash, third world, and gangy.
Oh my God.
That was referencing Black people and Latino people. But Asians, in contrast, were deemed assimilated to white American norms and values. Quote, one respondent said, quote, the Asians come in and they're freaking motivated. Hispanics aren't. Asians seem to be more proper, cleaner, and conservative.
Oh my God.
And this is some of the less offensive shit that's documented in this article. I'm not going to put out any more into the universe. It's so fucking gross, but it's nasty.
These OC whiteys really opened up.
Yeah.
To the white researchers, yeah.
This is the shit they said on the record, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, woof.
Yeah.
No.
So I mentioned the freeways before that like kind of made it possible for this county to be so prosperous. Certain freeways sort of act like the Mason-Dixon line of Orange County, which is more or less split between a more diverse north and a super white south. So Dr. Celia Lacayo, who published that study that I referenced, said, quote, whites used parking fees, homeowner association rules, and gated communities to deter unwanted visitors and settlers, even middle-class Latinos. They resisted the transport of Latino children to white majority schools and expressed willingness to withdraw their children from integrated schools.
Cool.
Who's gangy now? Jesus.
Right? It's all a projection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Following the 2016 presidential election, Santa Ana became a sanctuary city for immigrants. This created an intense debate in Orange County surrounding politics towards immigration, with many cities opposing pro-immigration policies. Do you remember that one specific episode of Real Housewives of OC with Kelly
Kelly Dodd or whatever. I don't watch OC, but Kelly Dodd has like always been in hot water for being a fucking terrible person.
It was a season that I think was filmed in 2020. So it was after this, but they were like breaking down what white fragility meant and white privilege and all this stuff. And half of them were just so blatantly fucking stupid about it. And some of them were like, I finally understand what white privilege is. It's just like,
yikes.
Good for you, honey.
Yeah,
You
congrats.
Okay, intense debate. Also, the COVID-19 pandemic in Orange County disproportionately affected lower income and Latino residents. So there is some aspect of systemic racism there too.
It's basically just a mini version of the U.S.
Yes.
It's just a microcosm of the U.S.
But the fact that it's so small makes it just way less subtle.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, from CNN. In December of 2022, Andrew Doe, a Republican member of the Orange County Board of Supervisors.
A female deer.
Teamed up with Ray, a drop of golden sun.
Well, Doe, by the way, moved to the U.S. from Vietnam in the 1970s. And he himself experienced, quote, violent racism, extreme hostility, and physical assault on a regular basis growing up. So now he is a Republican. He's a member of the OC Board of Supervisors, which is an extremely powerful group. A lot of money and influence goes through this Board of Supervisors. So he put forth a resolution taking a stance similar to many other counties in California and around the nation, which was to declare racism as a public health crisis. The resolution was unanimously adopted by the board, but was met with contempt by some audience members in attendance, with at least one heard on video yelling an ethnic slur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a public health crisis.
The irony
God,
gets
oh my fucking God.
It gets worse, you guys. It gets worse.
Of course it does. It always
I'm not
does.
a racist. I just want to protect my right to yell ethnic slurs.
Yeah, freedom
Exactly.
of speech.
Democrat Doug Chaffee, chairman of the board, co-sponsored Doe's resolution and outlined during the meeting why racism poses such an acute public health crisis. Quote, experiencing racism has been associated with increased risk for numerous mental and physical chronic health conditions like heart disease, cancer, asthma, stroke, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and suicide. These health disparities underscore the urgent need to address systemic racism as the root cause of racial and ethnic health inequities and a core element of public health efforts. According to a recent annual report by the Orange County Human Relations Commission, documented hate crimes and related incidents in the county were up 165% in 2021 compared to in 2015 or 2016.
Well,
That's what happens when the Republican Party normalizes hate and racism and all this stuff, and it starts to become acceptable behavior amongst like kind of smoother edged white Republicans. You know what I'm saying?
And
It's also bolstered by legislation.
Bolstered by legislation, and we saw a huge increase in Asian hate crimes in the wake of the pandemic. And there was a lot, I mean, there's a very large Asian population throughout California. And we saw a lot of horrific things happening to the Asian community in California.
And the Asian community is more accepted than Latinos and Black people in this county, too. So it's like...
Right. They're granted proximity to whiteness because they're not brown. It's fucked up.
So this measure is more than symbolic. They have actual, real, solid plans to combat racism in Orange County. So, quote, for example, Doe said the review will include looking at locations of county social service facilities, homeless shelters, and hospitals to lower barriers and ensure that underrepresented communities are not being inadvertently denied access.
Let's
So that's
also
just
make sure that they have access to voting.
Right.
all of the above. They have a ton of these things. That was just one example that I pulled.
Yeah.
In a 2021 Board of Supervisors public meeting, a member of the audience called Doe a, quote, parasite and said, quote, I ask you to go the fuck back to Vietnam.
Oh my God.
That was in 2021. In this past December.
Vietnam, too. fucking Vietnam. He's
Vietnamese.
no,
Well, yeah.
I know, but like, take for a half of beat the history of Vietnam and why he might be here.
Why he might
as
have
an
come here in the
American.
1970s.
Jesus Christ. I get so sweaty and angry.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just so stupid.
Not
That's
that
so
it's acceptable
stupid.
to say that to anyone about
No.
anywhere.
No, but
But
specifically,
it's so fucking stupid.
Yes, the stupidity is shocking.
in December 2022, as the board was preparing to vote on Doe's resolution declaring racism a public health crisis, an audience member yelled at Orange County Healthcare Agency Director Clayton Chow, who is also Asian American, telling him to, quote, go back to China.
So yeah, they just really
Doe
went
quickly
for
came
it.
to his colleague's defense, slamming the man who had hurled the slur, as well as those claiming the resolution was unnecessary in Orange County. He said,
You're making
quote,
that clear.
He said, quote, really? Go back to China? And you think racism is dead?
Right.
Irony is a concept that is foreign to some of us.
Mm-hmm.
To end on a little bit more of a hopeful note, here are some thoughts on the subject from this guy who I follow on Instagram now. He's amazing. His name is Gustavo Arellano. He's the editor of the alternative magazine OC Weekly and author of the syndicated column Ask a Mexican,
Yes.
which answers reader queries about Latino stereotypes. And I like that the Ask a Mexican has the upside down exclamation point and the
That's
Ask
cute.
a Mexican. He just has a really good attitude. He's really sweet. He has like 2 really old dogs. I like him a lot. So he thinks that the old, quote unquote, old Orange County is dying, giving way to millennials who were reared by Mexican maids and who eat Mexican food, according to him, which makes them half Mexican. Progressive artsy types who used to flee the Stepford Wives type vibe are now staying to create a new Orange County, he said. Quote, you have to fight the belly right in its beast, which I think was
funny.
kind of, yeah. So anyway, hopeful, but also Orange County is not the carefree surfer, there are no problems that is represented in, I don't know, The OC, the TV show, The Real Housewives, all that. It's got
A
its
lot
fair
of-
share of issues.
A lot of those issues go back to the 1970s and 1980s, and we will get to it in my case.
Yeah, that was a dark time in the OC.
Fantastic.
But first,
Well,
let's hear a quick word from our sponsors.
Ah.
As most of you know, we all just got back from Las Vegas, where we were celebrating Amanda's bachelorette weekend.
I'm ready to file for bankruptcy.
we'll never financially recover from this weekend.
Financially, we are in rough shape, but in terms of our hydration, we are doing great thanks to Liquid IV.
Saved my life.
Yep.
Seriously, Liquid IV absolutely saved me. I preempted all of the drinking and the partying and the dancing and the hot temperatures and
Pool
the sun.
day.
The whole cabana day. I prepped with Liquid IV and then
I didn't drink any plain water the entire weekend. I only drank liquid IV water. I brought it to the buffet.
You sure did.
It's the best. And that's because Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than plain water alone. And it has 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. It really is amazing.
It's kind of miraculous. The things I love the most about Liquid IV too is that it's so portable. You just stick it in your purse. I mean, my sister, best maid of honor of all time, she definitely stocked us all up on Liquid
It was
IV.
party
and she didn't
favors.
even It was party favors. She didn't even check a bag. They were just all in her carry-on because they're so little and convenient, this packaging, and the flavors are so delicious. I was a lemon lime girl all weekend. That's all I drank. It was so amazing. And as Kenyon said, the hydration, people, 1 stick of Liquid IV in 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. And with 12 delicious, refreshing flavors to keep your hydration routine exciting, you are just never going to get bored. You're never going to get bored with your water routine. It has 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. It is non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. So if you have some of those sensitivities, my friends.
If you're me.
If you're Kenyan, tag yourselves. You're Kenyan. You can still drink Liquid IV. And Liquid IV believes that equitable access to clean and abundant water is the foundation of a healthier world. So you can feel really good about this product because Liquid IV partners with leading organizations for innovative solutions to help communities protect both their water and their futures. And to date, Liquid IV has donated over 39 million servings in 50 plus countries around the world.
I love that.
Me too.
They're helping
Obsessed.
us and they're helping the world.
Exactly.
So grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code GALS at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code GALS, GALS, at liquidiv.com. And treat your hydration.
Treat it. Are we ready?
Yeah.
No.
All right. If you were a hitman in the mid 1980s, or
He was really mean to me on a beach.
to be fair,
though.
I got sand in my toes, and then
Schwarzenegger was there.
My gun jammed. Okay. No, if you were a hitman in the mid 1980s, Orange County was apparently the place to be.
It's your spot.
High demand, particularly from women looking to off their husbands.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Loving that.
So in 1984 alone, OC police were stunned by 3 premeditated spousal murders within the same calendar year in the county. All of them women soliciting murders of their husbands.
Honestly, seems low.
Well, there were fewer people there back then.
Seems
low.
Seems low.
Low balling it. For context, a total of 57 women actually killed their husbands in the state of California that year, but the vast majority of those killings were during a fight or an argument or like self-defense in situations of intimate partner violence.
So
Got it.
not premeditated homicide.
Right. This is premeditated hiring a
hitman.
hitman to kill your husband in Orange County in 1984.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah. So a defense attorney from this time period, Andrew Stein, noted, quote, "It's just weird. There must be something in the water."
It's fluoride. Take it out.
And maybe that something was Dixie motherfucking Dyson.
I love Dyson. I
So-
love my Dyson.
Dixie Dyson, no relation to the vacuums, sadly.
No relate.
Did she suck?
Oh my God. I'm going to leave. I'm uninviting you from
She
Vegas.
left her husband in the dust.
I'm resting all of my happiness and hopes on Vegas.
I know, me too. I would never take that away from us.
Thank God.
All right, Dixie Dyson has been described by many who knew her as a shy, retiring, even submissive woman.
Oh.
But apparently, no one knew the real Dixie at all.
Ooh, okay.
She'd had a difficult childhood. She was adopted at a young age, but life in her adoptive family was described as a, quote, not very warm environment.
Ooh, not
Whatever
great.
that means.
Poor Dixie.
So it's probably not
Do
surprising.
we sympathize with Dixie?
No.
Oh, dear.
No.
I have a feeling Dixie affs her husband.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, like, great to have a bad childhood, but it doesn't
Don't be a
excuse
murderer.
Yeah.
her choices.
God.
It's not surprising that she married and divorced and remarried and redivorced fairly young. She had 2 sons, Robert and Billy, with one husband, and a daughter, Lisa, with another husband by the time she was 30. But then her second marriage fell apart, and I think maybe both ex-husbands retained custody of the kids for whatever.
Full
maybe
custody?
Okay.
She had not like full custody, like she had not visitation, but like, I think it
Partial
was more
custody,
of
like
a-
50% maybe.
I don't know if it was 50% because with the boys, at least she had them in the summers.
Okay.
I think it might have just been like a financial thing where like she couldn't afford to keep the kids as a single mom and the husbands could. I'm not really sure. So the boys moved to Central California and they visited her in Orange County on summer vacation.
Okay.
As a newly single woman, Dixie led a pretty quiet middle-class life working as a data entry clerk until she met Mel Dyson.
Gibson. Dyson.
Does he suck?
He sucks.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Very
Gibson
much.
sucks.
I needed my
Like-
joke to land.
A lot.
So Mel Dyson was an outgoing and successful businessman. He was smart. He started an accounting firm in Huntington Beach, which is, like Lucy said, an area where, you know,
A lot of wealth.
Like,
Lots to account.
Rich white.
the rich white people, it was kind of like building at this time. Like a lot of people were flocking there at this time to like get rich or flaunt their money that they had, like new money. Also just like have fun and have a stake in this new community in the OC.
It's on the beach.
Yeah. it's on
Where's the beach?
It was called Surf City, USA. People were there to have a good time.
All right.
So Mel was just starting out in his career, but with the help of his family's connections, he managed to build up an impressive client list. Not technically wealthy yet himself, he still did pretty well managing the money of truly wealthy people. So he's in his early
Prime.
20s,
Oh.
but he's started his own company and he's got lots of clients. And so he's making like a good income.
It was
And
the
it's-
80s.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Imagine being able to do that now.
You probably get a house in Orange County for what I got my 3-bedroom house in fucking Minneapolis for.
On a marsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sinking house.
Aw.
She's not sinking anymore.
She's
And
doing
my sump
great.
pump works. Not the basement's bone dry.
Good.
Give her that.
But Mel loved to show off and seemingly was always trying to keep up with his clients' lavish lifestyle. So he was making a good income, but he didn't have like generational wealth or like a big solid padding of money. And he kind of spent a lot. He bought sports cars, jewelry, you name it. He went to a lot of parties. He was living the good life.
excited.
He was excited. He was 23. In fact, it was at a party when 23-year-old Mel met the 32-year-old Dixie,
Ooh, cradle rabber.
9 years his senior. She also might have been lying about her age because I also read somewhere else that she was 12 years older than him. So she
Hot.
might have been more in her like mid-30s. I don't know. Despite the age gap, it was love at first sight, and the pair soon married. After tying the knot, Dixie quit working and became a full-time housewife. And she also fell pregnant pretty quickly with her third son and Mel's first. So the couple were ecstatic when baby Eric was born in 1977.
Baby
Aw.
Eric.
Snow baby Shane.
Prince Eric.
Prince Eric was born.
I will.
But again, something was in the water in Orange County and all.
It's the fluoride.
Again. Something was still in the water.
Didn't they start putting fluoride in the water like around the 70s?
I don't
When it's
know.
actually the fluoride.
It was the fluoride.
Like
All this
lead.
bliss couldn't last. And it would all come crashing down like a roiling sea wave upon the shore.
Okay, Kenya.
On the night
Okay.
Lord, you typed that.
I typed that.
Oh my God.
On the night of November 17th, 1984. I was having fun.
Yeah.
Fun here. Uh-huh.
So it's about to get dark. So just
You don't
enjoy
say.
your fun while you can.
Get your laughs in, as she says.
Around 3 a.m., 911 dispatch receives a frantic call from Dixie at her and Mel's condo. An attacker, who Dixie described as an African-American male, had stabbed her husband to death, raped her, and then forced her to drive him in her car to an intersection a few miles away where he exited the vehicle and disappeared.
A likely story.
And to make this horrific nightmare even worse, all this happened while Dixie and Mel's young son, Eric, who was 7 at the time, and his cousin were sleeping in the room down the hall. And the attacker must have known that the kids were home because he told Dixie, quote, "Don't scream or I'm going to kill you and the kids."
Ooh.
Okay.
So police arrive quickly on the scene, and Detective Dale Mason observes no sign of breaking and entering or any kind of struggle in most of the house. So, and also the condo is on the 3rd floor, and it's in like a gated community.
So it's like how you can't easily just get in here.
No. So no sign of struggle in most of the house, but it was a very different story in the main bedroom. Blood was everywhere, on the bed, the floor, the walls, and Mel had been stabbed 17 times
Yikes.
and bled out like on the floor.
That is a lot of blood.
Few more details about that night emerged as the police interviewed Dixie. She tells them that she and Mel were having a perfectly ordinary night in. They'd watch TV, put the kids to bed, had sex, which, like, how ordinary is that? Less and less ordinary.
I have a 6-month-old baby.
To each their own.
Good for fucking you.
Enjoy
Must
it.
be nice.
You don't need to fucking rub it in.
Wow, you're already lying, but okay. That's the first red flag.
And went to bed around 10 p.m. But then in the middle of the night,
Honestly, I would have to take an entire day off to be able to, like, have a nice night in,
sex
have
at 10
sex,
p.m.
and be in bed by 10 p.m. Like, that is no.
that's a
You
lot.
make dinner,
That is-
you clean the kitchen, you put the kids to bed, and then
That's
you,
a long
you make
day.
love.
Oh,
Okay.
Imagine.
Oh my
Can you
God.
imagine?
It wasn't even Mel's birthday.
Make love.
Make love.
Make love.
Okay, but then in the middle of the night, she heard coughing from her son's room, and she went to go check on the boys.
Shut up.
They were hitting the bong.
They were set.
He's a baby.
It's California.
But he's fine. Both kids were asleep, and so she made her way back to the primary bedroom. But when she spotted Mel lying on the floor next to the bed, she was immediately grabbed from behind and raped. Like wrestled onto the bed and raped. Then, like I mentioned before, the attacker demanded she drive him away from the scene of the crime. And a guard at their Huntington Harbor condo confirmed that he saw her driving away that night, like in the middle of the night. Like he had to, there's like a gate. Like she had to literally go through the gate.
Yeah.
But he didn't
It's
see a
monitored.
passenger in the vehicle.
Didn't
but
see
he
a
knows he saw her
passenger,
car.
but like, conceivably he could have been like,
hiding
or
or crouching.
yeah.
Okay.
It's also at night, so maybe he just didn't see it.
right. Detectives also found unknown fingerprints on the trunk of her car that didn't match Dixie or Mel. But at the time, there was no fingerprint database for investigators to use, so they just kept them on file for when they had
Suspects are,
Yeah, they had a suspect that they could actually like physically compare them to. They couldn't just like search a database. Police ruled out burglary or even like a burglary gone wrong as nothing was stolen and only the bedroom had any sign of a crime occurring. The rest of the house was completely untouched and there was like no blood spatter.
Okay.
Wow.
Seems intentional.
But when she was asked if there was anyone who would want to harm her husband, Dixie told them that Mel had been skimming money from his accounting business, embezzling about $300,000 from the company that he had started.
Okay. That'll make people mad.
But when investigators looked into this admission, they could find no evidence of any embezzlement or any financial wrongdoing on Mel's part. Like his spending was lavish, but he wasn't cheating his clients or like the IRS like his business was legitimate.
Yeah.
So why would she say this about her own husband?
Right. Because she's full of shit.
Mm.
The fluoride. She's full of fluoride.
She
kind of
says
chips are
with
you
her
eating?
mouth full. Because she's full of
Full of
shit.
shit.
She's fucking full of shit.
No, but like what kind of chips are those? I'm so hungry.
They're Triscuits. I haven't eaten anything yet today except
I'm
coffee. So
sorry.
We're both
I had
like
to.
trying to see over your Skype window.
Well, hurry
Show us
up
the
and finish your
Triscuit.
segment so that you can get a snack during my
Where'd you get
seg.
those triangle ones? Mine are square.
They're the thin crisps.
Oh,
Ooh.
Hashtag not an ad.
okay.
Definitely not an ad. But also hit us up, Triscuit.
Yeah, we'll rep you, Triscuits. Okay.
Absolutely, we will.
All right. So Detective Mason is starting to grow more curious about Dixie's story. And for one thing, he felt that her demeanor was off. Like he just felt like she was like acting, basically. Like she wasn't, no obvious things. It's not like she like cleared out his closet right away or whatever, but it just felt off. It was also strange that no blood was anywhere else in the house. So conceivably, like if someone was stabbed as many times as Mel was with as much blood loss as he had in the bedroom, then the assailant would likely be covered in blood.
Yeah.
So why wasn't there a trail of blood from outside the bedroom to whatever exit was used or in Dixie's car? So then, about a week after the attack, investigators discovered a receipt from a pharmacy that was at the same intersection that Dixie claimed she was forced to drop off the assailant.
Uh-oh. She just went to CVS.
And from the same
She wanted a
day
snack.
and from the
She
same
wanted
time.
a sneaky snack.
She wanted Triscuit Thin Crisps.
She was
wanted
getting
cheeky
her thin
snacks.
crisps.
Maybe a Squishmallow if she saw one that she needed.
Yeah, she'd just been through a lot, murdering her husband.
Yeah.
So now detectives turned their focus to looking at Dixie. And they're trying to see if they can uncover any reasons why she might have had for wanting her husband dead.
Other than they had sex
The
every
normal
night, apparently.
reasons.
Yeah.
Other than their
She just
great
wanted a
fucking
break.
love-making
Other than
marriage.
she was over it.
I feel like any wife would have at least a couple legitimate reasons for wanting their husband dead.
Yeah.
So, of course, they quickly find out that there is a $100,000 life insurance policy on Mel with Dixie as the beneficiary. But, like, they're married and they have a kid and he's making good money. So, like, that isn't surprising.
No, he's so much more valuable also alive than
Right.
that $100,000 policy.
really.
Like, that's chump change.
Right, right. But when police interviewed Dixie's mother-in-law, an entirely different potential motive surfaced.
Oh my God, it's always the mother-in-law.
Mel's mother, Dolly, told investigators that she'd been suspicious of her daughter-in-law ever since Dixie had suggested a plumber to her who turned out to be Dixie's boyfriend.
No.
Dixie. Good Lord. I love
I
Dixie.
got a great plumber.
I love
I'm
Dixie
also
and Molly.
fucking
Dixie
him.
and Dolly.
Yeah, he'll really clean out your
He
pipes.
plums.
He plums. He plums
He
deep.
plums the depths.
You won't be backed up anymore.
What?
Yuck. He'll get everything. Every inch.
Everything.
And you should see his crack. Okay.
You should see his crack.
But yeah,
It's shocking.
the fucking balls on this woman to recommend her secret lover to her mother-in-law as a plumber.
I love it.
How did Dolly find out?
I don't
Well,
think Dixie covered her tracks
Yeah,
real well.
Dixie's just not that bright. She also had her lover like babysit Eric sometime. Like it
What?
just was not. She wasn't.
Dixie.
Yeah. So
Honestly,
She's kind of a dumbass, isn't she?
I'm impressed. She's ballsy.
yeah. Oh, she's ballsy. According to her older sons, Dixie and Mel had been having problems and were on again, off again for a while. And it was during one of their breaks that she began a relationship with Enrico Vasquez, or as my mother would pronounce it,
Enrique.
Enrique.
Enrique Iglesias. I love Enrique. Oh my God, Mom. So she starts, they're on a break, and she finds Vasquez, and then when she and her husband patch things up, she doesn't quite break up with the boyfriend.
He's so
would
good
she?
at plumbing me.
Yeah. And lose that connect? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's hard to find a plumber on weekends, holidays.
It's hard to find a plumber.
It is. It is.
This was pre-Angie's
I need to
list.
date an electrician
Oh my God, seriously.
and a carpenter.
It's hard to
and
find
a
a good
landscaper.
any of those that's not going
You
to
need a
like
husband
tack
who's
on
handy
extra shit
at all.
Yeah,
is what you
I
need.
need a husband who can
husband.
change a light bulb.
Zach is not handy.
No,
No.
he's book smart.
Didn't he use a hammer to tenderize meat or something, or a meat tenderizer as a hammer? There was something like that.
Probably. I can't remember. There's so many stories like that.
Oh no.
I don't know. Okay.
Bless his sweet heart.
Yeah. Enrique was a charmer, but he came with a U-Haul of red flags. She also just, like, Mel was like a great guy, seemingly.
Yeah.
And then her boyfriend was just this horrible piece of shit. I don't get it. He was manipulative and controlling. He convinced Dixie to not only start paying all of his bills, but to eventually sign her car over to him.
Okay.
So police track down Vasquez and they bring him in for questioning. They request his fingerprints to compare with the prints on the trunk of the car, but he refuses, and they don't have a warrant and they can't get one yet. But police are able to use the fingerprints that he left on the interview table.
Yup. Or his cup. Like they could take
Yeah.
any of that shit. Y'all wear gloves.
Yes! Proving you should always wear mittens during your police interrogations.
Seriously.
But actually, they could
Or
get
just
prints from
hold
inside
have
your
your hands
mittens.
like this.
Yeah, just I don't know.
Not
what to do with my
risking
hand.
it.
Yeah, don't drink anything. Don't smoke anything.
Mm-mm.
No.
What, these thimbles? I sew a lot.
I have lots of paper cuts.
I'm heading to my
These
quilting club after
thimbles.
this.
Gotta protect.
Thimble on
I'm a
each
hand
finger.
model. I gotta protect these bad boys.
But actually, hand models do have to sit like this, like before their shoot. I hand modeled
just went-
once.
You've got great hands. You've got better feet.
I got, after my spray tan, they'll be even better.
Okay.
But surprisingly, Vasquez's prints are not a match to those on the trunk of the car. So Enrico also claimed to have been at a party at the time of the murder, and this alibi was confirmed by the hotel manager where he'd been staying and like where the party was. Police were disappointed, but they still felt that they were on the right track looking into Dixie and her apparent infidelity. So that same hotel manager also told them that he'd seen an African-American man matching Dixie's description of her assailant staying with Enrico at the time.
Okay.
And this man went by the name Gerald.
Okay.
Now, the working theory is that Dixie and her lover Enrico had hired Gerald to kill her husband Mel, and that Dixie had then helped clean up after the stabbing and was the getaway driver.
Okay.
But this is still a theory, and the police don't have enough evidence to arrest anyone yet. So they go back to Mel's family, and they find out that Dixie had once stolen a ring from her in-laws and given it to Enrico for him to pawn for cash.
Oh my God.
I know, she's
Dixie
terrible.
is very
Dixie's
obvious.
scattered. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's a mess.
She sucks. So with this new information, police are able to file charges against Vasquez for possession of stolen property, because that's what they could get him on. They still have no clue who Gerald really is or where to find him, but they're going to try to press Enrico to get that information. So things got pretty dramatic when they go to arrest him. He jumps out of a second floor window and then tries to escape on foot, But he didn't get far because a swarm of cops had already had the place surrounded.
Sure.
So he denies killing or conspiring to kill Mel. And they can't keep him long on possession of stolen property as a charge. So he posts bail and he's released and he immediately skips town, which is like not suspicious at all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So he goes back to New York where he's from. Police then started to follow Dixie Dyson, like really tail her. Everywhere she went, there were investigators and they start to like not be shy about letting her know that they're watching her. And this goes on for a year and a half.
Wow.
After Mel's murder.
The resources.
The resources that they spent to get this woman.
Jesus.
I mean, it works out. But yeah. For surveillance for a year and a half.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, I'm sure it probably like lessened over time or, you know, like they go in shifts. But they let her know early on that they're tailing her, I think, to make her paranoid, and she's such a dum-dum that they know that
she's gonna fuck up.
She's gonna fuck up and act more erratic and at some point lead them to all of this. And she does. So finally, investigators catch Dixie going to a post office and mailing a letter to Enrico. They swoop in and they are permitted to view the envelope and who it is addressed to.
But they can't open it.
But they couldn't get a warrant in time to open it before it has to be mailed. Like legally, it has to be sent. So Detective Mason applies for the warrant, then gets on a plane and flies to New York City to intercept the letter once the warrant is in effect. Before it gets delivered.
This is exactly the lengths I went to intercept my bad report cards.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
1,000%.
Absolutely have done. This is the move.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before my parents get home, I have to get the mail.
Get a judge to sign a
fly
warrant
to New York
to intercept at the post office. Yeah.
Correct.
So it works. He gets there. He gets to the post office in New York. The postmaster in New York steams open the letter. And according to police, it contains, quote, all kinds of admissions to the crime.
Girl, on paper?
In her handwriting.
She probably licked that envelope, too. Here's my DNA to literally seal it with a kiss.
Well, it's 1984, so.
Whatever.
She could have jizzed on it. It wouldn't have mattered. But anyway.
Here are my fingerprints for you.
She probably did jizz on it.
Here are my fingerprints. Here's a hair that I plucked from my head.
Ew.
With the bulb.
With the bulb.
Oh, with bulb.
All right. So in the letter, she says, quote, isn't there anyone you know that can help me? Don't you have any connections with the mob or loan sharks or anyone?
Come on, Dixie.
Loan sharks.
I just can't take any more of this mental and emotional pressure, knowing they're out there, that they still want me. It's never going to end for me as long as they know where I am. Please, please, please help me. I need you now more than ever. Find 3 people to loan you $5,000.
Oh, okay.
Please.
Start an MLM.
Take care and don't get careless. They're still out there.
Cool.
So ironic that she ends like that.
Yep.
Because she got careless.
Yeah. That letter alone was so fucking careless.
So
she got careless.
They let it get delivered to Enrico, and then I think they arrest him, and then she gets wind of it and makes a run for it to Mexico.
Okay.
So police need to somehow persuade Dixie to come back to the U.S. voluntarily so they can arrest her. So they decide to unfreeze the life insurance payout and to get Mel's mother, Dolly, to convince her daughter-in-law, who she fucking hates, to come back to claim the money.
Oh.
Okay? That makes sense?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They're laying a trap.
They're laying a trap. And it works. So she could have been in the clear. She was in Mexico. Mm-hmm. She returns for that $100,000.
Dolly's a dingus.
No, Dolly's great. Dixie's a dingus.
Dixie's a dingus.
Yeah. She returns. She's promptly arrested. So prosecutors offer her a reduced sentence if she turns in her co-conspirators. And boy, howdy, does she go for it. Because they don't actually have anything tying Enrico to the plot. They just
that he's the lover.
Right. So Dixie spills that she and Enrico wanted to kill her husband for his estate, but Enrico knew that he would be the prime suspect, so he needed an alibi. So he set up that whole party and hotel thing and made sure that he was seen. And they needed to find someone else to do the deed. So Gerald, quote unquote, was someone that Enrico had grown up with in New York and whose real name was George Lamb. So the lovers had offered Lamb $10,000 of the life insurance payout for this murder, which is like not that much money.
No.
No.
I just don't get it, y'all.
I think the life insurance was just kind of like a bonus because like he had an estate, like he owned the condo, blah, blah, blah. She just wanted
a business. Like she could liquidate all these assets. And, yeah.
So she could have afforded to pay him much more.
Yeah. And hence why she needed Vasquez to get 3 people to lend him $5,000. She needed to pay Gerald and also, like, I guess, have some extra. I'm not sure. Maybe there was interest. I'm not sure. So on the night in question, Dixie had picked George Lamb up at the intersection near the pharmacy where she bought snacks or something. He'd climbed into her trunk to avoid being spotted as she drove him back to the condo. He then
the fingerprints.
The fingerprints are on the trunk, and the guard doesn't see. He then stayed in the trunk for hours while Dixie had dinner with Mel, watched TV, and yes, even had sex one last time. So they did have sex. And she did that on purpose so that it seemed like their relationship was healed and good, and they're back together. And you know,
and
she then
one last
waited.
Boink.
This is where it gets real dark, you guys.
Okay.
She waited until Mel fell asleep, then turned on the garage light as a signal for George to get out of the trunk. George gets out. He goes to the bedroom. He brutally stabs Mel to death while Mel is sleeping. I think there aren't even really any defensive wounds. And Mel did nothing wrong. Then this is the most batshit and craven and horrific part of this story. Dixie and George Lamb, Gerald, whatever, have sex in the bed next to where Mel is literally bleeding out.
Like covered in blood.
So that it can look like Dixie was raped and that there would be semen found from an unknown man who was not Vasquez and whatever.
Oh my fucking God.
They're
and
covered
also,
in blood.
I think why it had to be an African American man because it's the mid 80s, and so with the they're limited into figuring out. So she wanted the assailant to not be white or Hispanic.
Ew.
So that the semen and like the blood typing or whatever.
Ick.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fucked up.
But they would be covered in blood then.
Then they clean up. She helps them clean up. And change, I don't know. And then I don't know where they dumped the clothes and stuff. They must have done somewhere on the route to the pharmacy and back in the middle of the night.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yuck. Yuck.
So Enrico Vasquez and George Lamb were arrested and each sentenced to 25 years to life for murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Dixie Dyson was also convicted of first-degree murder in 1988, but because of her plea deal was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. She was denied parole in 2016, and as far as I know, is still currently serving time in a women's correctional facility in San Bernardino County, California. So she moved from Orange to San Bernardino.
Wow. Glow up.
Yeah, that is this fucking case.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dixie sucks.
She's horrible.
She sucks real bad.
And I don't know about Eric, but her other sons, one of them I think has had kind of a hard life,
Well, your mom is a murderer.
Yeah. Yep.
Ugh, I hate her.
It's interesting how bad she was at so much of this, but she thought ahead about the semen thing and the black man, and she thought ahead about some kind of surprising details.
They planned it. I don't know if she planned it or if Enrico planned it because he's the one that grew up with George Lamb. So he might have been the brains behind the operation. Not that there were that many brains in total, but
True.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Well done.
Thanks.
Yep. Orange County.
Should we hear a quick word from our sponsors, which I hope are Triscuits, because I just ate the last one and I need more.
I feel like I need to go clean up.
Okay, are you ready for my case?
Never.
Great.
Never
ever. Today, I'm going to be talking about a pretty famous serial killer who, in true Amanda fashion, I knew nothing about.
Oh.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss, and I'm going to ruin it for myself and any other people who didn't know about this fucking weirdo. Randy Kraft, was born March 19th, 1945, a Pisces.
First red flag.
To a working class family in Long Beach, California. Unlike most serial killer upbringings, it really didn't appear at all that Randy experienced much childhood trauma. Like, his childhood was pretty damn chill. He was the youngest of 4 kids. All of his older siblings were older sisters. He was the only boy, and his mom and his sisters just doted on him. Like, he was the angel baby boy of the fam.
My uncle, Andy, who had 2 older sisters and 1 younger sister, he's a perfect sweetheart, angel man, love him. But one time when he was little, my grandma was like looking for him and didn't know where he was. And she found him sitting in his closet in his bedroom. And she opened the door and she was like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm in my deep, dark hideaway thinking mean thoughts."
There's too many girls in this house.
I get it.
My uncle Hayward is one of 5 siblings and the only boy. So I'm sure he also needed to take some time to think his deep, dark thoughts too. So they gave him lots of love and lots of attention. When they moved from their home in Long Beach to Midway City in Orange County, they got very involved in their local Presbyterian church. His mom joined the Harper Valley PTA for his elementary
Wore
school.
her mini skirt into the room.
And he thrived. He enrolled in accelerated classes when he moved up to the junior high school. He had what appeared to be an idyllic childhood. Like, his dad worked full time and was like maybe a little more on the strict side, but there was no...
He had a dad. Must be
He
nice.
had a dad. I know, right? There was no, like,
Kenyon.
patterns or history of abuse. Like, I talk about this because it's what makes it so creepy to me.
Yeah.
Is that this guy
You can't point to a reason.
Yes, he's so normal, and he straight up goes from, like, just a dude to one of the most prolific serial killers of all time in the absolute blink of an eye.
Oh my God.
It is bizarre.
Did he hit his head?
No, there's nothing reported that would show any kind of event that changes his entire... I don't know. So, I mean, please feel free to share your theories as we go, because what the fuck? So he started taking an interest in politics when he entered high... Well, there it is. Okay. That's it. Found it. That's solved. When he entered high school, joining up with the Westminster High School World Affairs Club.
Oh, Kenyon would be all
Dog
about
show.
Oh, yeah. I would have.
He could have been your boyfriend
Ew.
if he weren't gay.
that. You would have gaslit us all into joining that club.
Probably. And setting his aspirations on the U.S. Senate. So he really wanted to be a senator. He had lots of friends and was getting straight A's in his classes. He graduated top of his class in 1963 and enrolled at Claremont Men's College to pursue a degree in economics. Randy knew in his heart of hearts that he was gay, but he had not come out yet to his friends and family. And he had like a couple girlfriends, quote unquote, in high school.
This is the 1960s. I mean, a lot of people did not come out.
Right. And it was the 1960s, which we'll kind of get to it, like a lot of the free love movement. And there was a lot more openness happening in like the counterculture. But he was like a Republican
Mainstream.
from a nuclear family. Yeah. Like,
And this is still the early to mid 60s. A lot changed.
right. It did. His political affiliation was staunchly Republican, and he did not run in social circles that would readily accept his homosexuality. But college tends to open up our worlds to other experiences. And while he was out at campaign rallies for Republican Barry Goldwater and
Jesus.
attempting counter protests to the Vietnam War, like in support of the Vietnam War.
God. That aged well.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He started to wonder.
Go back to Vietnam.
Pretty much. He started to wonder if this was really
Let's all
what
go
he...
back to Vietnam.
Let's all go.
No.
Jesus.
So he's participating in these big Republican movements, and he starts to wonder if he's really a Republican. Like, am I really aligned
with
with
people
any of
that
this?
don't think I'm human and don't support my rights?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So as his conservative veneer started to crumble, he entered into his first homosexual relationship.
Good for you.
Good for you. He also took a job as a bartender at the Garden Grove Cocktail Lounge, a known watering hole for the gays. And he started to explore his sexuality, and he would often visit nearby Laguna Beach and Huntington Beach for casual encounters. Around 1964 or 1965, it is unclear, Randy tried to possibly softly come out to his family by not explicitly saying to them that he was gay,
But just
by
buying rollerblades.
well, kinda. He just brought home a male companion. And
Roommate.
they were oblivious / in denial and just assumed that they were very close friends and just went on with their lives. It didn't work out. He thought they'll catch on and then I won't have to say anything.
Right. And they did
And
not.
they did not.
They're like, oh, he's such a nice, let's set him up with Sarah.
Yeah, he's your roommate, you say?
Why is he still single?
were not picking
handsome.
up.
A catch like that?
Not picking up what he
Yeah.
was putting down.
Yeah.
The gaydar was not finely tuned at
Yeah.
this time.
No.
His sexual encounters around the beaches landed him in a bit of hot water when in 1966 he was arrested and charged with lewd conduct after soliciting sex in a Huntington Beach from a young man who turned out to be an undercover cop.
Cool.
Because-
Great use
yeah.
of resources. Yeah.
Right. Because he had no priors, the charges were never officially filed and he was let go. But this marked a decline in Randy's behavior. He started partying constantly, drinking in excess, taking drugs, gambling, probably rollerblading. And his grades took such a dive that he was not able to graduate in June of 1967 as intended. And he had to repeat a bunch of classes. He did end up graduating with his economics degree in 1968, having entered college a conservative Christian straight-A student and now left a soups gay Democratic Party animal, which is literally what conservative Republicans
Yeah.
are so afraid school is doing to kids
Thanks,
that they're
critical race theory.
yeah, banning books and critical race theory. And I'm like, y'all, it happened one time.
Yeah.
Relax. Not everyone is Randy Kraft.
Okay.
God.
We're good. Sorry he entered a Republican and left a gay Democratic serial killer. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
That's not the
You
norm.
win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
I
Sorry
don't know
about
what
it.
to tell you.
Y'all can have him back. We don't need
Yeah.
him. He's all yours, babes. So after college, Randy joined the Air Force and he did quite well, working his way up to Airman First Class in 1968. Riding the high of independence and success, Randy felt it was time to finally tell his family the truth about his sexuality. His mother and sisters were fairly accepting of this news, but his father kind of lost his shit. He eventually came around and Randy started to, but after that kind of went down and it was hard to recover from that, oh, my dad does not accept me.
Right.
So he started to distance himself from his family after coming out to them. So coming out also came with consequences in the Air Force, and he was discharged for quote unquote medical reasons because being gay was a mental health problem.
It's a medical reason.
Medical reason.
60s.
In 1969, yeah.
I medically don't want to be here anymore.
Correct. Bye.
I'm medically over it.
Yeah. So being discharged for medical reasons is not an honorable discharge. And this meant that he lost all of his benefits and it could damage future employment opportunities.
That's not an honorable.
This type of medical
This type of medical
being
reason.
gay.
Yeah.
cases.
Oh,
If he had been like harmed in action
Yeah,
or
he'd be
had any
fine.
other like physical illness,
I didn't
Sure would've been
realize that
fine.
if you get like injured during basic training, but before you're like fully fledged or
yeah,
whatever,
they don't have to give you much
they don't have
of
to-
anything.
Yeah, I didn't realize
It's fucked
that.
up. It's fucked up.
Okay.
It's really sad. So now he's out of a job. He goes back to Orange County and back to bartending. And also he was operating a forklift on the side. So he's doing gigs. This was not cutting it for him as far as career goals. So in 1971, he decided to follow in his older sister Kay's footsteps and become a teacher.
Oh God.
He enrolled at Long Beach State University where he met Jeff Graves, a fellow student from Minnesota. And Jeff was openly gay and sexually experienced and sexually open. So he introduced Randy to all kinds of fun stuff like bondage, drug enhanced sex, threesomes.
The good
He's
stuff.
like, let's fucking go off, king.
Yeah.
So this is a quote from the Evidence Locker podcast, and they did a very extensive dive into this guy. So I'm obviously not going to be able to get into all of the details, and there are like so many fucking victims that I can't even begin
In our
to scratch the
format,
surface.
yeah, you
in our format. But check them out, and I listened to the episode, and they have transcripts of their episodes on their website, so it's kind of fun if you just want to like read along rather than listen to it. Anyway, Evidence Locker. Quote, they became an item and moved in together in the upmarket area of Belmont Shore, but their relationship wasn't exclusive and there was a lot of freedom to cruise or to have one-night stands. Due to their different personalities, their relationship was volatile. They often argued, which ended in shouting matches. Often, Kraft would leave in anger and drive around, driving from highway to highway through Torrance or around Huntington Beach and even west along San Bernardino.
The Californians cannot help themselves. They have to describe in detail where someone is driving.
yes.
They
It's,
can't. It's the
it's the
SNL
culture.
sketch.
The Californians.
They can't. What
But like,
is
are you
that
going to take
impulse?
the 5 or like
I
the
don't know.
6?
I mean, if I lived out there and in such a big place with so many roads with so much traffic, that's probably like the foundational
Yeah, I guess. but
culture.
it's
That's
so
the unifying
funny.
culture. It's very
They
weird.
cannot
It is
help it.
probably about the traffic because then people can judge. Wasn't there a
Yeah.
Curb Your Enthusiasm about this?
Oh,
People
yeah.
judge
yeah.
you
Any
based on the
secret
route
route.
that you're taking.
Very real.
Yeah.
So what folks didn't know was that on these long drives to blow off steam, Randy was picking up young men, sexually assaulting them, and murdering them.
God. Okay.
Just
So
to
from
blow off
Wikipedia-
steam after his argument with his boyfriend.
I fucking guess.
Wow.
I don't know. And like, I don't know. Like, I don't have a pattern to lay out for you of behavior escalating to this point. I'm certain it was happening and maybe it just wasn't documented, but like, there isn't a documented history of violence.
It's just so murky.
And
Oh,
then
that's
suddenly
creepy.
he's driving around in the night, picking up like hitchhikers and sex workers and doing really fucked up shit
And murdering them.
and murdering them.
Wow. That is really fucking creepy. That
It's
it could
fucking creepy.
start
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this gives you kind of a really fucked up rundown of kind of what his MO was. So from Wikipedia, quote, Kraft's victims were typically lured into his vehicle with an offer of like a lift or alcohol or drugs. I mean, it's the 60s. Once in his vehicle, the victims would be plied with alcohol and or other drugs. They were then bound, tortured, and sexually abused before they were killed, usually by either strangulation, asphyxiation, or bludgeoning. However, some victims had also ingested lethal doses of pharmaceuticals, and that was their cause of death. At least one victim was stabbed to death.
So he's all over the place, really.
It's kind of all over the place. And the victims would then be discarded, usually, though not exclusively, alongside or close to various freeways in Southern California. Many of the victims were burned with the car cigarette lighter,
Oh my God.
usually around the genitals, chest, and face. and several were found with extensive blunt force traumas to the face and head.
Oh my God.
In several instances, foreign objects were found inserted into the victims' rectums, while other victims had suffered emasculation or mutilation and dismemberment. Like he would castrate.
So super fucking sadistic.
Very sadistic. Very
And
sexually
sexual,
motivated.
yeah.
Power,
Very sadistic.
control.
Yes.
Weird.
And really violent, which is why his like loving upbringing and like no trace
And he's in a serious long-term relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
He lives with his partner.
It's got major like self-hatred, self-loathing vibes.
Little
Oh,
BTK.
for sure.
vibes.
Yes. Super BTK, like this unassuming guy.
Yeah.
And there's pictures of him on the drive. Like, he just looks like just some dude. Like, I don't know.
I've heard the name, but I did not remember.
Oh, he
details.
does look like some dude.
Just some dude.
Ooh.
The most like blend into the background some dude ever.
Yeah.
Like, I always fucking say this, but like, he kind of looks like my dad.
No.
Every skinnier, tanner version of my dad. My dad in California with his little mustache.
I know it's the 70s and whatever, so everyone kind of looks the same, but
Right.
there's also some Jeffrey Dahmer stuff going on.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. It's very weird.
Okay.
So, as far as we know, he killed his first victim in 1971, a 30-year-old man from Long Beach named Wayne Joseph Duquette. Wayne Joseph was a bartender at a Sunset Beach gay bar called The Stable,
Amazing.
like the saddle, but The Stable, where he had last been seen alive finishing up a shift on September 20th, 1971. He was found a few weeks later on October 5th, nude and discarded along the Ortega Highway. He was not suspected to be a victim of homicide because the state of his body, which had essentially putrefied in the California heat and in this like wet ditch, had erased any signs of foul play. And toxicology found a very high blood alcohol content. And his cause of death was ruled acute alcohol poisoning. And it was assumed that he had like gotten drunk and wandered around and just died.
But they were able to figure out it was him, or it took a while to identify. They knew it was him.
They knew it was him. I think he
had
like
him?
his ID on him. Yeah, like his wallet.
Also, if he worked at a known gay bar, the cops are not working
Gonna
to
give a
solve
shit.
that.
Yeah.
Nope.
Totally.
And that is a huge reason why this goes on as long as it does.
Yeah.
I don't really like get into it, but like it is understood
Right.
that many of these victims were gay and bisexual, and they were not cared for in the eyes of the law
Right.
at all. So a further investigation into this case didn't take place. They were like, this fucking drunk gay guy wandered around and he died on the side of the road. Sucks to
Whatever.
suck.
Yeah.
Bye.
God.
So likely emboldened by this outcome, Randy locks in his MO and he goes fucking off. And it turns out this was the perfect time to be a serial killer in Southern California. Again, from Evidence Locker, quote, despite its beaches and boardwalks, there was also a dark side to Southern California in the 1970s. It wasn't all roller skates and ice creams. It was a killing field. It was a dangerous time to be a young man living in or traveling around the area. In 1973, police didn't have a solid suspect and appealed to the public for help. A notice was published in the Long Beach newspaper, the Independent Press Telegram, which read, a $2,000 reward is offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the murderer of 5 young men in the Southland area since last December 26th. The bodies, most of them sexually mutilated and one dismembered and decapitated, have been found in Long Beach, Seal Beach, Huntington Beach, and in the Los Angeles Harbor area. But investigators are convinced the murders all were committed by the same person.
So they're clocking that there's a serial killer. They still don't super care, but they're putting out this reward.
Enough people are dying that they're like, guess we need to try.
Right.
Because this is starting to look real bad.
Were all of the victims white?
That I'm not sure, but I believe the majority were white and Latino.
Okay.
Also,
So that
it's the
could have been a reason why the
70s.
cops didn't care.
Of course.
potentially.
People are hitchhiking a
Yep.
lot.
Oh, yeah. And we'll get to the hitchhiking. Like a lot.
Yeah.
So bodies were turning up in and around Orange County almost daily at this point. They shared some similarities, these deaths, and some differences. Their causes of death were not consistent, ranging from strangulation to blunt force trauma to gunshot wounds to stabbings.
Decapitations, dismemberment.
But not necessarily cause of death in terms, like for the dismemberment. That was after the fact. But their causes of death were not consistent among all of these cases. Right. But they were all young men, many of whom were gay or bisexual, and many of whom were Marines. Now, the fact that several were Marines could have kind of been like a coincidence, like a product of convenience, because Marines would often spend weekends partying in the OC and would hitchhike to and from the base because they didn't have cars.
Okay. Yeah.
Making them vulnerable to capture.
And he's got the Air Force background. He can shoot the shit with them.
Exactly.
Yep. And he's
Literally
like a teacher. He seems like a
targets.
very convivial, very
He's unassuming.
good communicator.
He's
easy
unassuming.
to make friends.
He's ex-Air Force.
He knows that they're not going to want other people that they're like partying with to know, so they can like sneak off.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, he's got booze and drugs in the car. He's picking him up. You want me to take you to this bar? I've got this. Like, you looking at party. Yeah.
What more do you
That's why I'm
want
fucking out
from
here.
a Marine on a weekend leave?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Wow.
So this made them super vulnerable to capture. And though the police had issued a statement believing these murders to be the act of one individual, it soon became clear that there were 2 active serial killers in that specific area at that time targeting young men.
Oh my God.
And these 2 are not in cahoots with each other. They are totally unrelated.
Wow.
Patrick Kearney turned himself in 1976 after he had been killing young men in the area for over a decade, murdering at least 28 people.
He turned himself in?
Yep. I think he was just
tired.
done. Yeah. He also preyed on hitchhikers, but unlike Randy, Patrick would take his victims to remote areas, shoot them, engage in necrophilia, and then discard them along the freeway. His MO eventually evolved to luring these men into his home, shooting them there, defiling their corpses, dismembering them, packing them into trash bags, and discarding them, earning his work the title of the Trash Bag Murders.
Oh my God.
The 70s were crazy.
I've never heard of that guy either.
Yeah.
No.
But when the killings didn't end upon his surrender, the public is like freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, the cops thought we got him. He turned himself in. We didn't even get him. He got himself.
Yeah. And
he killed 28 people.
Yeah. I guess he turned himself in 1978, not 1976. That was unclear. But yeah. So shortly after Patrick is off the streets, in April of 1978, an 18-year-old Marine named Scott Michael Hughes was abducted by Randy. He was given a large dose of Valium and tortured. Oh, it's bad. Randy cut open his scrotum and removed his testicles and then strangled and dumped him by a freeway on-ramp in Anaheim. 2 months later, 23-year-old Roland Young was found by a next to a freeway in San Diego. Barely a week after that, 20-year-old Marine Richard Keith was found near Moulton Parkway. Another 3 weeks after that, 23-year-old Keith Klingbeil is found discarded along Interstate 5.
Wow.
Keith was found alive, but succumbed to his injuries in the hospital a few days later.
Oh my God.
And his left nipple had been seared off with a car cigarette lighter. So he had the same pattern of wounds as a lot of the other victims, Randy's victims had.
Hell. Whoa. Jesus
2 months after that,
Christ.
2 months after that, 20-year-old Richard Crosby was found off of Highway 71 in San Bernardino. And a month after that, 21-year-old Michael Inderbyton was found castrated and dumped along an Interstate 605 on-ramp. Things then go a little bit quieter.
They're all
until
so
1979.
young.
They're so young.
And
I think his youngest
brutally killed.
Horrifically killed and tortured before death.
Ugh.
I mean, the only blessing is that the toxicology on the vast majority of these young men, they were very drunk and also given a lot of drugs. So I'm just praying to any kind of fucking god that
they were
didn't
out of it.
experience all of the pain of this, because it's unfathomable. It's fucking unfathomable.
Oh my God.
So things went a little bit quiet until 1979, and then at least 5 more young men were killed in a similar fashion in 1979.
Did he travel somewhere? Did he go somewhere?
Interesting that you should say that. So he does travel, and also around that time, he gets into a pretty committed relationship and seems to kind of dial back his behavior. And I didn't include this because there was a whole lot that isn't corroborated, so I just didn't go there. But in this relationship, I think the guy's name was Jeff. I'm not sure, that might be his ex, but they would engage in sexual encounters with a third party, and they would go out looking for individuals together. And so there was a time after the fact when people were like, oh, was he in on it? Helping him capture people. But that's not corroborated. I don't believe that to be the case.
Maybe
I really think this guy didn't know.
Finding someone satisfied that urge enough.
A little bit. And he was happy in that relationship, it sounds like. So he
had someone, he had someone making him accountable.
Yep. I mean, even with BTK, the Green River Killer, when his relationship was going really well and he was occupied with his home life, he really significantly cut back on his hunting and murdering.
Right.
So I just think that's what was going on in that time frame.
Wow.
Randy would kill in and around Portland in 1980 during an extended business trip, and then start killing again around the OC in September of 1980. He would continue killing in this area until he returned to Portland in 1982, killing at least 1 young man in that area before flying to Grand Rapids, Michigan on December 6th for another business trip, killing 2 people during his 2 days in Grand Rapids. He then returned to Portland on December 8th and wasn't there for even 24 hours before killing 19-year-old Lance Taggs, who he picked up hitchhiking.
Oh my God.
So
Jesus.
It's nuts.
He
he can't help himself. It's constant. And I'm not giving him an excuse, but it's it's impulse at this point. Now, Oregon authorities have kicked up a manhunt into high gear and have connected with Southern California authorities because of the clear consistencies between the cases in both states. But they still haven't narrowed in on Randy. So, they know that there's a killer. They know that it's likely the same guy who's traveling back and forth between, California and Oregon. And they're we got to figure this out. But they don't know it's Randy.
Yeah, people are buying tickets at the airport in cash. It's not like they have a database to search.
Exactly.
Who's flying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's they do not have a robust database to track his movements. Enhance. But Randy then just keeps killing people. He goes on to kill at least 3 more young men in 1983.
I can't stop killing people.
Yeah, literally cannot stop. Oh my God.
He's now been actively killing for over a decade, because remember, his first suspected kill was 1971. It's now 1983.
Jesus.
But his reign of terror would end on May 14th, 1983. From Wikipedia, at 1:10 a.m. on May 14th, 1983, this story is completely nuts. I can't even.
It's already been completely nuts. I can't imagine how it could get any more nuts.
This is the most, of course, this would be his downfall story of all time. So, 2 California Highway Patrol officers observed a Toyota Celica driving erratically on Interstate 5 in the Orange County community of Mission Viejo. Observing the vehicle performing an illegal lane change, the officers, suspecting the motorist was driving under the influence, signaled for the vehicle to stop. The driver slowed the vehicle to a halt and exited the car, discarding the contents of an open beer onto the pavement as he did so.
Wow.
Officer Michael Sterling met the individual, who identified himself as Randy Kraft, at the front of his patrol car and observed that his jeans were unbuttoned. Sterling had Kraft perform a field sobriety test, which he failed. He then arrested Kraft for driving while intoxicated. Sterling's partner, Sergeant Michael Howard, approached the Celica, the car, and observed a young man slumped with his eyes closed in the vehicle's passenger seat, partially covered by a jacket. several empty Moosehead beer bottles, and an open prescription bottle of lorazepam tablets. Zatarain's lorazepam were strewn about his feet.
If
Howard
this had been if this had been Dahmer, they would have been like, nothing to see here. Guess he's drunk.
Yep.
Send him on his way.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need a tow?
Officer Howard attempted to wake this man and received no response. So he attempted to rouse him by like shaking his arm, only to note the individual had a very low body temperature.
Oh my God.
Upon checking for a pulse, Howard noted that the man was dead with a thick ligature mark visible around his neck.
Oh, no.
Lifting the jacket from the victim's lap, Howard noted that the victim's jeans had been opened and his genitals were exposed.
Oh, no.
In addition, the victim's hands had been bound with a shoelace, and his wrists bore evidence of welt marks, later identified as Terry Lee Gambrell, a 25-year-old Marine stationed at El Toro Air Base. The victim had been strangled to death.
Can you imagine being that sergeant and you just think that you're waking up a drunk kid in the passenger seat, and then
he's cold.
He's dead.
The other
He's
shoe
cold.
drops, and it's all these, and then you lift the jacket. Oh my God.
No.
Yeah.
That's
and
so-
fucking Randy was just cruising around drunk, taking a drive with this
Jerking
dead
off because his own
Yeah.
pants were open.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. Ugh.
with this dead kid in his car. I mean, it's like, the fuck, dude?
This guy is, I mean,
Completely batshit.
I've heard the name, and I'm like you, Amanda. Like we're terrible.
The
at,
worst
we're the
true crime people.
We
Yeah.
really are. We don't know any of the like
The famous ones.
Yeah.
And I love that when we
too
did this
many.
podcast, we're like, we're not going to do famous cases. And I was like, well, we're not going to do cases that are famous to us.
Our lesser known
'Cause-
cults, we covered Heaven's Gate.
I love that cult, though. I had to. It's my favorite cult.
Oh, yeah. It's my favorite cult.
So, it's my favorite cult. With Randy in custody, investigators searched his car and got a warrant to search his home. And y'all.
Oh, God. Okay.
In the car, investigators found a belt, the width of which matched the bruising around Gambrell's neck.
Mm-hmm.
So he had strangled him with his fucking belt.
To be
found
fair, belts have a pretty standardized width.
Well, sure, but alcohol in the car, tranquilizers, various prescription drugs, and stimulants. The passenger seat and carpet of the vehicle were heavily bloodstained. However, Gambrell had no open wounds.
So somebody else's blood. Oh my God.
Many. Who knows how many people's blood?
Maroon fibers.
Who even knows?
Crimson fibers.
The upholstery was removed for forensic analysis, which confirmed that the blood present was human. But it's the 80s, so they couldn't get like a bunch of different DNA profiles off of it. But
Yeah, we have
Soaked.
100 different DNA profiles in this carpet.
honestly, you're not that far off. Like,
Oh, my God.
100 is not an unreasonable number. Beneath the carpet, investigators discovered an envelope containing more than 50 photographs, like Polaroids, of young men in pornographic poses. Many of the subjects in the pictures appeared to be either asleep or dead.
Dear Lord.
This
Yup.
is some Dahmer shit. God.
Inside the trunk, investigators found a 3-ring binder containing a handwritten list of 61 coded notations. This would become known as Randy's scorecard, and he was therefore known as the scorecard killer.
Ish.
A search of his home revealed further incriminating evidence, including clothes and personal possessions of numerous young men who had been murdered over the previous decade. Randy's scorecard contained, as we said, 61 entries with cryptic notes such as angel, hoth off head,
What does that mean?
no idea, dog, deodorant, skates, diabetic,
No.
Portland head. So I think that maybe Hoth and Portland
Hawthorne.
were two areas, and off or head meant that he may have decapitated them
So
because he did mutilate.
Oh, God.
Some of
Hawthorne.
his-
Didn't we do a show at the Hawthorne in Portland?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember.
And
what
I don't
it's
know if
called.
that's a Portland person, but one
I'm
was
making
Portland Head.
connections to freak
easily.
myself out.
The one I found the creepiest of these entries, and all of, like, there's a photo of a page out of this binder on the drive, and then there's also on the drive, folks had made a, like, Excel spreadsheet of the entries, and kind of, like, it was used as an investigative tool. Like, some were able to be identified and directly connected, but you can more legibly read what all of these entries were, and one of them just says, "What you got," was the entry. So fucking creepy. I hate it.
So these are just totally for himself to just remember and relive.
Yep. And I did not put any of these photos on the drive because it's unclear who was asleep and who was dead. But, like, if you Google this fucking guy,
I have no desire to see that.
No, some of those pictures are out there. Like, it's really, really fucking creepy.
Oh my God.
Of the 61 entries, a handful were multiple homicides. Like, there were instances where he would pick up or, like, engage in sexual contact with multiple partners and then kill both of them.
Did he have a gun, or was he drugging everybody and
sometimes he had a gun.
Then? Okay.
Sometimes he had a gun. Sometimes it was just lured with drugs and alcohol. They're partying together.
And then he would just overpower them? He's not that big of a dude.
No,
that's why he drugged them.
Right.
The drugs were a lot.
Right.
Like, he was knocking them the fuck out.
He didn't shoot any of his victims, though. That would have just been like
No, I think he did. I think like 2 of them he did shoot. But
okay.
His most common MO was strangulation.
Right.
To make it last so he could, like...
Probably. That's very sexual in nature. Very sexual in nature, as we know. Of the 61 entries, a handful were multiple homicides, which brought Randy's suspected victim count up to at least 68 young men.
Oh, my God.
On May 16th, 1983, Kraft was formally charged with the murder of Gambrell, that boy that 25-year-old kid they found in the front seat. By September 8th, investigators had interviewed over 700 witnesses and gathered more than 250 physical exhibits, which pointed toward Kraft's guilt in a further 15 homicides committed between December 1972 and February 1983.
Oh, my God.
Almost a decade.
Yep. He was, and his first suspected but not confirmed kill was in 1971. So it was over a decade at that point. They just couldn't get him for everything that he did, but they got him for enough.
He was killing a bunch of people before he started his fucking scorecard.
Yep.
Probably was like, I gotta start writing this shit down.
Yeah, I would imagine there are more that we don't know about. I feel like it's impossible that there aren't.
Well, also because, like you said, there's usually some kind of escalation, and this kind of came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, it really leaves you to wonder.
If he traveled for work, and we know about 3 instances where he traveled for work and committed murders there.
Yep.
And he
God
evidently
only knows where else.
Works really fucking fast. He got that one kid in like 24 hours.
24 hours. Yep.
Ugh.
So he was formally charged with the 15 murders that he could be officially linked to with the evidentiary practices that we had at the time. Now, if we went back and looked and, like, assessed DNA evidence, I would imagine he could be stacked with a whole lot more. He also got an addition of 2 counts of sodomy and 1 of emasculation, which I believe is like
cutting the dick off.
Yeah, yeah. His trial lasted a total of 13 months, not because it took so long to deliberate, but because there were so many witnesses and so many exhibits of evidence to present. There were over 1,000 exhibits presented to the court.
At some point, the jury should just be able to be like,
you're done.
Yes.
Guilty. Yeah. But it is, to this day, the most expensive trial in Orange County history. And Randy was sentenced to death in August of 1989 and remains on death row in San Quentin to this day.
So he's still alive.
He's still alive.
Ooh.
Yep.
Imagine being his, like, cellmate.
No.
When you're on death row, I don't know if you have an in-cell cellmate.
Probably not, because then they'd really have nothing to lose. That'd be very dangerous.
But I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that...
Right.
That's over.
Isn't that fucking nuts?
God.
I had no idea. I had no idea that somebody...
I did not know the details, no.
No. I like you, I'd heard this name before, but then as I was reading, I was like, the fuck? And Anyway, that's my case. Thanks, Anon. Thanks, QAnon.
You fucking ruined my day.
Now I
Go get a
really
spray
need
tan.
to shower. Oh yeah, we're going to
I
get
don't
spray
know
tans.
if I can now. That was a lot.
Deodorant, diabetic, what you got.
What you got?
Yeah,
Skates.
tag yourself.
Tag yourself. I'm definitely diabetic.
You're diabetic. I'm probably what you got.
Okay, I have a theory about what you got.
Okay, what is it?
It's the title of a song, and it is the song it's the song to which he dismembered that victim.
Maybe. Could be.
That's my theory.
A good theory. All right. Well, listeners, send in your theories as well.
Or don't.
Well, thank you, Anonymous, and shout out to Abolition Now OC. Go follow them. Wow.
Yep.
Something in the water. Bye-bye.
Fuck the fluoride. Bye-bye.
See you next week. Ugh. Thanks for listening to Wine and Crime. Our cover art is by Kala Yip. Music by Phil Young and Corey Wendell. Editing by Jonathan Camp. Check out our website and blog at wineandcrimepodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wine and Crime Pod. If you have questions, answers, or recommendations to share, email us at wineandcrimepodcast@gmail.com. Episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, basically wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And if you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. It is the best way to spread the word. If you'd like to show your support, visit our Patreon page to keep this podcast and the wine flowing. Cheers.